Kat Dockery, Open Space Council for the St. Louis region. So I first want to say thanks for having us here and for giving us time to speak. I think the one thing that everybody in the room can agree on is we're glad you picked a night the Blues aren't playing. So there we go. I'm here tonight to oppose this development in Creve Coeur Park. Many of you have already spoken with me about my concerns, but I'm going to highlight some of the ones that come from our organization. I think the biggest, we really try and take a common sense approach to this. One of the biggest concerns and confusions that we have is why does this have to go into park space? Public-private partnerships happen very frequently, and they don't go in and take public parkland. They don't go in and take open space, nature preserves, urban parks. So we are absolutely for this. We think there are economic benefits for the entire community. We just think this is the wrong location for it. We've heard that there's a real need for ice in the community. I believe that to be true. I have several friends that play and have been out with them at 10:45, 11:30 at night, whatever it is, after they get off the ice. I think that's true. What I think we also need in this community are natural open spaces where people can go and get a break from the day-to-day buildings and development. There are a lot of statistics about the benefits that happen when people get away from those things and get into large-scale open spaces like Creve Coeur Park. We have a need for natural floodplain in our community. We are the river city. We need a place for rivers to go. Creve Coeur Park was purchased because it kept flooding. The facilities there kept flooding. So common sense approach again. We know that from the past. Let's pay attention to it and make sure that we keep this as parkland and keep this as open space to provide those natural benefits. We also know we need wildlife areas. We are in, as Gary said, St. Louis County, the most developed and most populated county in Missouri. We have to make space for wildlife. They bring value to our community and they are a part of the food chain. We also need places that soak up water. So we've seen the retention basins. We've seen the stormwater runoff information that's come out about this site. That's valuable, but I think what you're missing is that this site is already providing stormwater runoff benefits for other developments in the area. So when you have open spaces like this and you have developments and highways, the water that goes on those, the water that goes on the roof comes down and has to go somewhere. Open spaces like this provide a place for that water to soak up. If you don't provide those spaces, your rivers rise faster, you see more flooding. It's common sense. I personally have some frustration over the fact that this is a property that we've invested in as a community, as taxpayers for more than 50 years. The Missouri Department of Conservation has used taxpayer dollars to go into this property. The National Park Service has used land and water conservation funds to go into this property. St. Louis County Parks has used tax dollars to go into this property, all to make it wild, all to make it an open space, not to prepare it for a 1,500 site parking lot and a 200,000 square foot building. I also have personally raised dollars to put native plants into this site. I've taken volunteers out. I've planted things into this location. So, it's not just public dollars, private dollars have been raised to invest in the landscape here. Some of the concerns we have: located in a floodplain, what happens when it floods? Who's responsible for maintaining it? If St. Louis County Parks continues to own the building and if Legacy is leasing it, we want to know that this isn't going to end up back on taxpayers. The size of it, this is huge. This is bigger than a super Walmart, plus 2 Target parking lots down in Brentwood. That's massive. There's going to be light, there's going to be sound pollution. It's a drastic change to the landscape. Hikers and bikers are used to going through that area and seeing wildlife. GRG is putting in millions of dollars of trail in that area so people can have that peaceful experience. Now they're going to be biking by a development. Well, I'm not for that. Concerns about traffic, concerns about the fact that this is going against the Land and Water Conservation Fund. I have concerns about the precedent that it sets. My lifelong dream: open a bowling alley in Creve Coeur Park. Is that the precedent that we've set? I don't know. Discotheques, active recreation, Should we put it in Creve Coeur Lake Park? I don't think so. I don't think that buildings of that size should be in our parklands. We need to think about long-term ownership and maintenance of the facility as St. Louis County Parks. Right now, we have a maintenance backlog. It's not something that's new. Charlie Dooley faced it. It's something that county residents know very real. We don't have money to take care of existing facilities. Why add more? Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Next speaker, please.
Hello, thank you for taking the time. My name is Todd Stimson. I'm a St. Louis County resident. I am a business owner in St. Louis County. I own Potbelly Sandwich Shops. I'm also here for my daughter. I help coach on the AAA Blues 14U hockey team. I'm not going to talk a whole lot because everybody's already delved into why hockey and ice is a shortage and why we need more stuff. But I would say that the backlog of maintenance, just to point a few things out, the amount of dollars that this rink will generate for the park system and the new tax dollars that will come into the St. Louis County will help offset some of those concerns that some of the other groups have. Families that travel out of town to go to hockey where they have these great facilities that people can go and play, the tax revenues and the dollars that are generated for the surrounding community is just humongous. We don't have those facilities available today. We're short of ice. I have a young man that also works for me at Potbelly that's a Gateway locomotive, and that kid's joy and excitement about what he gets to do in his off time to be part of a hockey team that generally just doesn't exist. It's growing, but most of those kids get left behind. So for that team and a couple of the other teams, we do need this facility. I thank you for your time. I hope that this project goes forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me time to talk on this subject. My name is Greg Pileski. I'm Vice President of Greenway Network, a conservation organization driven by volunteers. First off, like I said, this is a great project. It looks like it's got some very enthusiastic supporters. I sincerely hope that they do accomplish getting this facility built, just not in Creve Coeur Park or in the floodplain. This project is in the Missouri River floodplain and is waiting for a disaster. The city of Maryland Heights is supposed to be developing flood disaster plans for its nearby unwise flood development. I got questions on whether there's going to be an emergency plans for the facility evacuation when floodwater is up to the levee, and that the development could be flooded in minutes if there's a levee failure in the area. Well, this is very, very close to it. When you have some developments that are not so intensely developed, you're going to have a lot of people in this building. If there's a levee failure, that building will be in water in 10, 15 minutes. To know enough is enough to know that I think this is enough of giving Creve Coeur Park's lands away to special interests. Has to stop here. Bridges, golf courses, boathouses, adventure courses, archery ranges, mountain bike trails have been developed over the years, taking more and more of the open spaces and wildlife habitat. The park has provided our citizens with outdoors activities such as these, many of which I enjoy. I first went to Creve Coeur Park when I was a scout and took a hike from St. Anne there, and have been playing in that park since. And I've also been done trash cleanups and honeysuckle hacks to get the invasive species out. But the cost has been a loss and a disruption of the more passive activities in the park, such as bird walking and family picnics. Ice rinks do not have to be built in our park or in our floodplain. I gotta say, just go Blues, just don't go into Creve Coeur Park. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Greg. Next speaker. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be quick because most everybody has covered a lot of what I'm here to speak about. My name is Craig Brown. I represent the St. Louis Rockets Hockey Club. We're a club with about 450 players currently growing at a rate of about 15, creeping up on 20% a year. We are 1 year away from running out of ice. We are in the process of developing our own dry land or off-ice training facility because we see kind of a hockey disaster coming because of a lack of ice. With the Chesterfield rink closing, and we've already gotten demands on our ice from other clubs, not demands, a request for our ice time. We are looking at 1 to 2 years away from turning away hockey players. So just from the club growth and hockey growth side, a facility like this is needed, desperately needed. On the other side of it, I took my kids one of them to Nashville last weekend for a tournament, and sitting around with a few of the parents, we determined how much everyone had spent knowing I was going to come here today, and looked at the number of teams. The city of Nashville generated over $250,000 worth of revenue on just that weekend, and we're going again next weekend with my other son. So it is something that I see as a great benefit both to the hockey community and to help the coffers in St. Louis County. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Craig. Next.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to voice our support of the Ice Center in St. Louis County. My name is Chris Roseman, and I'm the Vice President of the St. Louis Sports Commission. And the Sports Commission is an independent, privately funded nonprofit organization. We work to benefit St. Louis by attracting major sporting events to the region that create economic activity, vibrancy, and showcase our community nationally and internationally at its best. The presence of the new Ice Center would open the door to hosting a whole range of new events. These events, attended largely by out-of-town fans, create significant visitor spending and new incremental tax dollars for the county, generated primarily by those from outside St. Louis. It's important to view the Ice Center not just as a facility for St. Louis County residents, but also as a venue that can be a magnet for attracting special events and sports tourism dollars. I'd like to give you a sense of breadth of the events that we could host with the presence of this Ice Center. Those events include the U.S. Figure Skating National and Regional Championship events, USA Hockey's Youth National events, College Hockey's ACHA Annual Tournament, U.S. Speed Skating Qualifying events and championships, and the NCAA Women's Frozen Four. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Last week, I attended the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Kansas City, and the event is 10 days long and is shown annually on NBC. The event, hundreds of competitors, along with the parents, fans, and over 200 credentialed media attended the event. A key component for the region to attract this U.S. Figure Skating Championships is an ancillary facility to host the junior events. U.S. Figure Skating has taken notice of the St. Louis County project and communicated interest and excitement. The Ice Center's location, benefiting from proximity to hotels, restaurants, attractions, the airport, and highways, makes it appealing to event rights holders. So we'd have a great asset to drive events and visitor spending to St. Louis and make the county an even better place to live, visit, work, and play. Thank you again for the opportunity to express our support for the new Ice Center. We look forward to working with the venue to bring more major events to our community. Thank you.
Chris, what was the organization again? Your organization again? Sports Commission. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, Todd. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Todd Antoine. I'm the Director of Planning and Projects at Great Warriors Greenway. And on behalf of Susan Troutman, our Executive Director, I'd just like to, first off, thank you all for having the opportunity for folks to be able to provide comment on this project. Great Warriors Greenway, as Patrick Quinn mentioned in the beginning, has been working with us on the project in terms of the trail coming down that we are very excited to announce is going to be under construction here very shortly, working with St. Louis County Parks and the City of Maryland Heights. And so just wanted to mention that all the folks at the St. Louis Legacy Ice Foundation and County Parks have been great to work with, and we're very excited to be building the trail here and having it open in next year, and really just appreciate having you all take the time to listen to folks tonight. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, Todd. Very nice.
Good evening.
Bring
Thank you all for this opportunity. I appreciate it. My name is Chris Johnson, and I am the president of the St. Louis Lady Cyclones All-Girls Hockey Club and a future tenant of the St. Louis Ice Center. This is my daughter Kendall, who is one of the reasons that I'm here tonight and actually got me over to girls hockey. I have two other boys that play, a 12-year-old in the back of the room and a 19-year-old that's off at college. And at one point I had 3 kids on 4 teams, and I coached 3 of them and still coach 2 of them. So I'm about as deep into girls and boys youth hockey as you can get. And a couple of years ago when Kendall was 8, she wanted to play girls hockey after a couple of seasons of boys hockey, and we went looking for a club and found the St. Louis Lady Cyclones. At the time there was just a few teams, and they had wide ranges of skill levels, and it wasn't conducive to development, but it was better than nothing. It was something to do, and we played there and had a great time, but realized things needed to change. So we would go out to all the public skates every weekend, and she would go out there and we would scout girls that were out there skating and talk to their parents and start recruiting them in one at a time. And then somewhere along the way there, I met a guy, actually he's 2 speakers behind me, John, and he helped me put together a girls try hockey for free day. It was a 1-hour session out at the Ice Zone, and we drew over 120 girls. 120 girls came out that day to try ice hockey. That event was promoted in part by the Blues and through social media and through some of the schools, but it was phenomenal. It was astounding that we could get those kind of numbers. 12 months later, we did the exact same thing, which was last April. We got another 120 some odd girls, again with John's participation and help as well. But what it showed us was that they were out there. The girls wanted to play this great sport, and not just the few that made it onto boys' teams or the few that made it into the Tier 1 AAA level, but there was a passion for this sport, not just with boys, but with girls. The problem became we didn't have any place to put them. We realized that we could get just as many girls to play this sport as there are boys out there over time, but we have no place to put them. We're stymied by the lack of ice out there. So when this project came along, it was just ripe for the picking for us. Because the first question families ask us when they're considering the sport is, where do you play? Where do you practice? And when your answer is 5 or 6 or 7 different rinks at different times all over the place, it's not conducive to getting them into the sport and attracting them into the sport. And why shouldn't we? What a great sport. You've heard speaker after speaker talk about the discipline and the physical fitness and the character building and the teamwork and the hard work and all of these life lessons that these girls learn on and off the ice that can stay with them forever. We've had a couple of lucky breaks along the way. We've partnered up with the St. Louis Blues. They've been extremely supportive of us in every way, shape, or form, including providing us ice in our deficiencies so we could continue to attract girls into the sport. We've partnered up with the Lindenwood Lady Lions. It's an NCAA D1 program here. And we kind of see this as a perfect storm. The support of a D1 school, or the support of the St. Louis Blues, a groundswell of support of girls coming into the sport, and now the centerpiece of it all, the St. Louis Ice Center. I mean, what an incredible opportunity. We feel like it's the perfect storm to go ahead and actually put girls' youth hockey on the map and do it right here in St. Louis, Missouri, where this could be the only opportunity we ever have, where everything lines up for us in order to really grow the game in girls' youth hockey. Right now, we currently have girls in our club from Decatur, Illinois, from Springfield, Missouri. We have 2 girls from Memphis that come in every weekend that are committed to moving here. Their families are committed to moving here if we have a facility like this for them to train and to practice at. So we couldn't be any more supportive of this project. We couldn't be any more need of this project because we have such an underserved market opportunity for our girls to skate. I heard the buzzer. There's just one last thing I want to comment on. We're hosting an all-girls hockey tournament here in St. Louis in 2 months, in March. It'll be the last hurrah at Hardee's. We end our tournament. Hardee's closes the next day. Right now we're having about 30 outside teams out of the market teams that are going to be here to play that weekend. That translates into 1,000+ hotel nights. That translates into all the different things that you're hearing about. And that's not a drop in the bucket. We put that together last minute very quickly without a centerpiece like this, without a destination to come to. But the economic impact that this club can have through that facility, I don't think should be discounted. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks for the time, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kendall. Thank you.
Hello, thanks for making this open to everybody to talk. My name's Amy Wilhelm, and I'm in opposition to the rink. I was a high school athlete and a college athlete. As a woman, it was great for building. I totally get the hockey thing. I was not in hockey, but just athletics. I was really into athletics, and I really support the idea of having these kids being involved. I'm a primary school teacher. I teach kids from K through 8. And I know how important it is for kids to get into team building activities that are positive for them. But the problem is, of course, I oppose this because the park is a public land and it is open space. From an environmental perspective, the park is there for the nature, for the environment, and this project would bring in a lot of commercialization. It would have advertisements, there would be traffic, light, sound pollution, in a space that's currently pretty peaceful. I've been going to Creve Coeur Park since I was a child with my father. We used to sail there, and we used to ride our bikes out there from our house, which was in St. Louis County. I still live in St. Louis County. And it has become more developed over time. It's still a nice place to go. It's one of my favorite go-to places after work if I need to calm down or decompress. You know, just like it's good to have hockey and to have a support that makes you feel good, I think there's a lot of individuals that need that park to go to decompress because it's beautiful and it's quiet. It's an open space, one of the few that we have in the city that's actually open and quiet, and it feels good to go there. A lot of people need that. They need that peace to get away from their crazy lives. And as much as tourism dollars this might bring in, I think it would take care better of our own community if we have that park for ourselves to enjoy and to have as a place to go for peace and just to enjoy that. Of course, there's the problem of the birds. I'm a member of the Audubon Society. This is a flyway. We live in a major flyway for migrating birds. This park has been designated as an important bird area. Building this facility, all those windows on it, the sound and the light, I'm not sure how the birds are going to react to that, if they're going to change their path. Some of them that may use that area for nesting. It's all very unpredictable. The advertising is another problem that I see. The public park is there as a place to get away from things that are private, like advertising, and that would be, to me, that would be a real shame to see that. You know, all the parking lots, all of the, you know, the traffic, all these things I see as a real problem, and I oppose this so much that I am actually a little bit angry about it. I feel that it's kind of presumptuous of the hockey community to think that they have a right to step into this public land and do this with land that's actually belongs more to nature and to the community. And this is just one small private sector of interest. Okay, the general community is not into hockey. And believe me, I love hockey. I like watching hockey. I don't ever play it. I tore my ACL. I'll never get to do that. But after 2 surgeries, anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm getting buzzed out. I'm rambling, but basically, put the ice rink somewhere else. Let us keep our park. Let the animals keep their park. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy. Next speaker.
Appreciate the time to come out here and say a few things. My name is Steve Winterberg, and I'm a lifelong resident of St. Louis County. I currently reside in Chesterfield, just 8.5 miles away from this proposed facility. I'm married and have 2 young girls, ages 10 and 11. Never in a million years could have I imagined my daughters would have an interest in playing ice hockey. But on December 29th, 2014, that all changed. The St. Louis Blues held one of their first Stride events designed to introduce the youth of St. Louis region to ice hockey for very little cost, and my youngest child became addicted at the age of 8. That day, we also found out about the St. Louis Lady Cyclones, and we have been a part of that family ever since. The St. Louis Lady Cyclones are a bit different than the other youth hockey organizations in the area. We're an all-girls club for starters, but we have girls from all over the region and even further away like Springfield, Missouri and Memphis, Tennessee. It has had a tremendous impact on my girls, giving them the confidence to compete in a traditionally male sport and to achieve success doing it. The biggest challenge has been that we don't have home ice. We travel all over the region for practice and games to make it all work. Our club has worked very closely with the Blues to make sure that we are successful.
As the sport becomes more and more popular, we are challenged with finding enough available ice to grow our players. We have been fortunate this year to be able to spend a lot of time at Scott Trade Center for practice and games. What an awesome experience for all of us. In just a few months, youth hockey in St. Louis is going to lose 3 sheets of ice in St. Louis County as the Hardee's Iceplex closes for good. Now I want to switch and put on another hat. While I'm a husband, a father, a Cyclones coach, I'm also a planning commissioner in the city of Chesterfield. I've been very involved in the new plans for the Hardee's Iceplex. My job as a commissioner was to decide if the new plans for the property fit within the city's comprehensive plan and that the use was appropriate for the site. In that case, it is. And I think about the St. Louis Ice Center proposed for Creve Coeur Park. It's hard not to get emotional and excited, but there's also a need to be objective. What a great addition to an already great park, centrally located in St. Louis County with easy access from everywhere. In closing, I fully support this project and I'm excited to watch it move forward. The only downside from my view is that the project isn't already under construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Next speaker. Good evening. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nancy Shayer. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to speak. I am very much in opposition to this project. After having heard all you dedicated hockey enthusiasts, it's clear that you feel that there's a need for more hockey space, but I, like many of the others who've spoken today, do not see that there's a need to put it in the park, especially given all the negatives and downsides of doing so in terms of the detriment to the green space and the openness, the noise pollution, the sound pollution, the traffic, the water issues. And I know that they've been mentioned, the birds, the other animals, but I also want to make sure that people also understand that we are on the monarch migration path. And so there's already a lot of habitat loss, and there's a lot of work going into expanding the habitat by planting the native wildflowers that the monarchs need to grow. Monarch caterpillars only eat one type of plant. That plant is one of our native wildflowers here in Missouri. The milkweed and the park is one of the few places in the area where that still exists. And so we will not be able to, our monarch population will suffer greatly if we don't. So that, in addition to all the other wildlife concerns, I really just want to reiterate the fact that I think that all the arguments for having additional ice time, clearly there's a need for it. I have heard almost nobody argue why it has to be here. Why does it have to be in Creve Coeur Park? Where's the list of the 20 other venues that they say won't work? All the other open land that might be available, haven't heard any kind of business or sort of financial reasons why you couldn't use some other piece of land anywhere, in this area to do that. So even though, and I also want to agree that I think that this is it's clearly a special interest group. And I know that we do subsidize, but I think that this feels like it's a big subsidy. And though I've heard people talk anecdotally about the benefit to it, I haven't seen any facts and figures. What exactly is the benefit? How long will it take to repay? How much is it going to cost the city? Where are those details that would lead one to think that the potential advantages are going to outweigh all the disadvantages? Is there going to be enough money that one could then mitigate all the issues in terms of maybe you're supposed, like we did with the Page extension, right? How many new acres were purchased in order to mitigate the loss of land through that bridge? I don't hear anything about any kind of mitigation done for the loss that this project would cause.
Thank you, Nancy. Next speaker.
My name's John Lukemeyer, and I'm a board member with Kirkwood Youth Hockey Association. And I kind of had a speech, and if you get this far back in line, a lot of people have said what you wanted to say. There was one point that's been brought up numerous times, and I just want to remind you that this isn't the first time that a park has had an ice facility in it. We have one in Greensfelder Park, Queenie Park. There's one in South County. There used to be one up in North County. And I think a potential opposite way to look at it is this is how we introduce kids into the park system. So through an organized sport in a park, the Rink at Kirkwood Park, for example, we take our kids from an off-ice perspective and do some training using the park and introducing them to things like the nature paths and some of those spaces. So slightly off topic for what I wanted to address, but it's something that came up and I just wanted to make sure that was pointed out. I just want to use a minute or two to thank the Blues and the Legacy Foundation for their commitment to growing the sport of youth hockey. There's a lot of risk involved for this private public endeavor, and I can guarantee you that the facility will be used to its utmost, not just from the anecdotal evidence that you've seen or heard already, but I'll give you one quick story. We participate in a program that they offer called the Little Blues, and basically it's a tri-hockey event where the kids pay for the ice time and the Blues literally donate brand new gear that the kids get to keep. It's about a $300 value to each child, and it now puts introductory hockey on par with basketball or soccer or any other sport because the equipment cost has been eliminated. It's a phenomenal program. We opened up 60 slots, had 100 kids try and take advantage of it. Those are 40 kids we would have sent to the ice center and said, we're full, but you can go out to the ice center if it were here. There's 6 other venues in town that participate in that. And believe it or not, there are other venues that don't even participate because they think it's a wonderful program, but they're like, why create more demand that we can't fulfill? So their goal is 1,000 kids in this Little Blues program every year. Right now they're sitting at 350. So 2.5 times that many. I think it's a slam dunk that they would have those kind of numbers participate in that program. And if it's any indication of the conservative projections they're giving you on some of the other tenants, I think you should feel very comfortable that it's not if we'll build it, they will come. It's if we build it, they're already here. So I thank you for your time and your creative solution to our problem.
Thank you, John. Next speaker, please. Thank you.
I'm Heather Navarro. I'm the Executive Director at the Missouri Coalition for the Environment, and thank you for this opportunity tonight. For over 45 years, we have worked with citizens to protect parklands, to ensure that open space is available and protected for generations. For 45 years, we have reported on and researched the importance of floodplains and wetlands. And we've lost over 87% of the state wetlands already. And year after year, we have seen how development in our floodplains exacerbates flooding and impacts water quality. And we have seen how once green space is taken up, it is not recovered. It becomes a permanent loss to the community. Creve Coeur Park was established with the intent that it provide and protect opportunities for outdoor recreation. And the St. Louis community worked hard to ensure that this land would be set aside for outdoor purposes. And I personally am very grateful to the hard work of all of those citizens. I have a 13-year-old and 11-year-old, and we go out to the park. They love kayaking out there. And they can see the difference in a park that offers such an expanse of wide open space, how that is very different from a developed park. An ice facility may be a wonderful asset for this community, but that use does not trump outdoor recreational use. And this structure is a block to outdoor recreational uses. It removes land from the floodplain and it impacts the natural ecosystems that make Creve Coeur Park the amazing resource that it is. Simply because an outdoor option is available does not merit this project as an outdoor recreational facility. And the question is not whether this ice facility is good for the community, but whether the current and future citizens of St. Louis County deserve to lose another chunk of a fabulous park. The land loss is valuable not only for outdoor recreational uses, but it provides ecosystem services for the entire region. Open spaces like this park provide functions that improve water quality, absorb floodwaters, protect air quality. The health benefits of green space is different than the health benefits provided by by indoor hockey or ice skating. These open spaces are dwindling at a time when our public health is more dependent on them. And when this facility ceases to be in use at some point in the future, it will be difficult, if not impossible, to recoup the land. Other sites that do not involve the taking of public land expressly limited for outdoor recreation should be utilized, and this land should be preserved as intended for the benefit of the current and future residents. We've heard a lot of personal stories tonight about people's experience with hockey and skating, and again, this is not a question about the merits of hockey, of youth hockey, or girls' sports, all of which I support. Everyone who has been to Creve Coeur Park has their own personal story about learning to love the outdoors, about being empowered by being out in nature and challenging themselves on the lake or on the trails. They are being transformed by the peace and quiet that is only found in open spaces like this one. And these experiences cannot be found anywhere, everywhere. This is a special place that needs to be protected and preserved for the unique opportunities it provides. There is a better place for this facility that does not deprive the region of an amazing natural resource. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to give input. My name is Gwen Wallman, Kirkwood, Missouri. I'm the Conservation Chair for Webster Groves Nature Studies Society, a 250-member regional nature organization. And I just want to say that we are in agreement with previous speakers from Open Space Council, Missouri Coalition for the Environment, Conservation Federation, and St. Louis Audubon, and some of the other speakers too, regarding we do not agree with putting an ice arena in Creve Coeur Lake County Park. There's no shortage of underutilized and abandoned properties across North County that desperately need urban renewal, communities that need revitalization. There's so many choices across St. Louis County. I don't understand how anyone could justify robbing birds and wildlife. A development of this size, scope, and impact at this location will degrade the ecological quality of this park permanently. The ice arena may be a good idea, but it does not belong at this location. And there seems to be a misunderstanding about the purpose of this hearing. It is not about the virtues or popularity of ice sports. It's a DNR hearing, a required DNR hearing, because the purchase of the land involved incorporated funds from the Land and Water Conservation Fund State Assistance Program, which is, everybody should read this, because over and over and over again, it is stipulated in this document that lands that are purchased with use of these funds must be used for outdoor recreation. On page 3.6, it says, acquisition of areas and facilities designed to be used primarily for semi-professional and professional arts and athletics will not receive LWCF assistance. Acquisition of areas to be used mainly for the construction of indoor facilities will not receive LWCF assistance. It is very clear the LWCF Act specifies that development projects must consist of basic outdoor recreation facilities. An ice arena is not an outdoor recreation facility. And I don't know how anybody could read this without a stubborn refusal to play by the rules. Because those are the rules. And this use is totally outside of the rules. And I'm just asking that St. Louis County play by the rules and abide by the terms of the Land and Water Conservation Fund for which monies were used to buy this parkland. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen.
Good evening. My name's Andy Hudson. I'm a resident of St. Louis County. I'm here to tonight to speak in strong favor of this project. I'm also an ice hockey referee, which has not been mentioned this evening, and unfortunately the 5 young men sitting behind me have already left, but I was going to call a penalty on each of them tonight. I probably have called a penalty on them before, so hopefully they don't take it personally. I'm also the Development and Education Coordinator for the Missouri Ice Hockey Officials Association, and we're the organizing body that is responsible for training, certification, supervision, scheduling, and continued education of ice hockey officials in the St. Louis metro area. Our association includes more than 300 certified amateur ice hockey officials, the majority of which live and work in St. Louis County. Our officials are assigned to approximately 8,000 youth hockey games a year. This includes the youth hockey games, this includes high school hockey, college club hockey, and adult recreational hockey. As the sport of ice hockey continues to grow, the need for more qualified ice hockey officials will grow as well. Our efforts in the recruitment and retention and development of local ice hockey officials is robust, and we continue to grow as officials just as... Is everything okay?
Everybody okay?
Yeah. Okay, good. That's 2 minutes for roughing. So our recruitment efforts are very robust, and we require the necessary classroom and ice time space in order to continue our training and development of our officials. However, the upcoming decrease in available ice time supply in the near future, we will be facing challenges with ice arena facilities being able to fulfill our needs. The St. Louis Legacy Ice Foundation's project would be a major step forward in fulfilling our association's growth. It would also provide the significant ice time and classroom space we need, and it would be centrally located to conveniently serve the large majority of our members. It could also attract major local, regional, and national USA Hockey officiating camps and other programs. St. Louis has a rich hockey past, a healthy and vibrant present, and an amazing and exciting future. To summarize, I enthusiastically support this project, and I trust that you, as our county leaders, will demonstrate your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Next speaker, please. Good evening. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ed Jacquin. I'm a lifelong resident of St. Louis County. It's great to see so many people that can come out this evening and express their passions for their viewpoints. One of my passions over the years has been speed skating, and similar to the gentleman that spoke earlier, my interest is, should this program, this project move forward, some of the specifics about the rink. As Pat Quinn identified early for us, St. Louis has enjoyed the opportunity of placed on the last 13 Winter Olympic teams speed skaters that have grown up from our rinks here in the St. Louis area. The Hardee's Ice Sports Complex, when closing, we will lose the Olympic width, Olympic size sheet of ice, and we no longer will be able to hold nationally sanctioned meets here in the St. Louis metro area. Many areas around that we traveled to have those. An example that Dan mentioned was Wichita, Kansas, has a wonderful Olympic-sized rink, but some 7 hours away. Should this program, this project move forward, I would greatly encourage the effort to investigate the potential to put a 30 meter by 60 meter or some close to 100 foot wide rink in place for us. It allows us to continue our international competitions. Back in 1988, we actually hosted a world meet here in St. Louis at the Queenie's Ice Sports Complex. That was before the international rules required the 100-foot width rink, so we could get by with it then. That requirement for safety reasons and good reasons, skaters are skating much faster nowadays, need that extra width for the safety. So I'm in support of the project. I really appreciate everybody being able to express their opinions as the opportunity to express mine. And should this move forward, please consider looking us up and giving us requirements for an Olympic-sized indoor sheeter rink. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Next speaker. Where are we at here? Thank you.
Hello. Please forgive me, English is not my first language, so probably I'm gonna speak brief and in the short sentences. My name is Michael Kurbatov. I live in Creve Coeur, and I really enjoy this area. Creve Coeur Lake, one of my favorite spots. I run around it, I bike around it, and I sail in it. And probably if anybody have been at the Creve Coeur Lake few last seasons, you've seen my biggest boat on the lake with the bright color sails. That's mine. I love that area. And speaking of who I am, I'm from St. Louis Curling Club, member of board of directors, and ice maker for that club. And what is the basically curling? Curling is a rapidly growing sport in the United States. Just a few years ago, it was only 40 clubs. Compared to Canada, where they have almost 2,000 clubs, it was like nothing. A few years later, as of right now, it's more than 160 clubs in the United States. The major player of United States perform very well on any level, from World Championships to Olympics. Just 2 weeks ago, I've been in Las Vegas watching and making ice for Continental Cup, and it was great success. Las Vegas crazy about curling. So curling is coming to United States, and we have to be concerned about that. Now, what else special about curling? Curling only one of very few winter sports who can allow participate anyone in it, any gender on the same team, any age on the same team, any handicapped person, disabled person can play, fully capable to play curling. Paralympic sport included in the Winter Olympics included handicapped people playing in a wheelchair. And if our club will grow to that level that we can accommodate disabled person, needy person, deaf persons, it will be great benefit for our community of St. Louis County and St. Louis and whole. Now, we're struggling right now because we are struggling to find ice time. That's basically where you've heard it number of times today. No ice, no ice, no ice. That's why St. Louis Curling Club in a huge favor to build any ice facility around St. Louis, because we need it. And if we will grow, it will be beneficial for our community, beneficial for us, beneficial for entire St. Louis area. Just a few months ago, as the very first time, St. Louis Curling Club had a competition on a Creve Coeur Ice Arena. People from 12 states came to us to participate in that competition, and it's the very first one. It shows you potential of this sport in St. Louis. As of building this facility in a park, I love that park, but I don't think that's going to hurt environmental issues and other people concerned. Should be addressed, of course. How it's going to be storm water, how it's going to be traffic, how it's going to be lights arranged out there. That stuff should be arranged, because I don't want to see, when I'm sailing around the lake, huge buildings sticking out of the woods, ugly concrete and all that kind of stuff. As far as I can see, it's a pretty low profile building. So I think if this project will go through, it should be arranged in such a way it's not going to be very obtrusive and bringing too much attention, because that's a nature out there and should be main concern should be preserved. It's a nature park.
Wrap up your comments, please, Mikhail.
Yeah.
Wrap up your comments. Okay.
Then I'm good.
Oh, all right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I
Hi, my name is Kim Cuddeback. I'm a 40-something year county resident. I grew up in Maryland Heights. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Maryland Heights Residents for Responsible Growth. First of all, I'd like to reiterate what the woman from the Webster Groves Nature Center said, and I'd like everyone to understand this is not about how great these organizations are or whether we need ice space or the value, how valuable sports are for adults and youth, because all those things are true. They sounds like a great organization. It looks like it's going to be a great facility, but this is a terrible place to put it. It sounds like pretty much all of these organizations are nonprofits. And if that's the truth, then this is a really bad place to put it. It's irresponsible of nonprofit organizations to build their facility in an area that's going to require so many millions of dollars of maintenance. I also, for the last 4 years, have rowed with the St. Louis Rowing Club, which is right across the street. Just this last year, we had to spend, WashU spent a lot of money to rebuild our boathouse because it was 4 feet full of muddy, disgusting river and lake water. That is not something you want to clean out of this. You are not going to be able to do that. It's just, you don't understand how disgusting that stuff is. Mud doesn't cover it. It's like sludge. Thank God we didn't have wastewater like Fenton did, but there's a treatment plant right there. So if the river does flood again, when it floods again and comes through the levee, under the levee, over the levee, you're going to have raw sewage flowing through that whole thing. And I don't know how many millions of dollars it's going to cost to rebuild that. It's irresponsible of nonprofits to build in a floodplain in this area. It's also irresponsible of the county to use this money, taxpayer money, that's been built in the park, that used to buy the park. Are you going to pay back the money, the federal dollars that were used to buy this? I doubt it. For years, the county has been trying to sell our parks, to get rid of our parks, to barter them to anybody. It's irresponsible, and I'm tired of the poor, short-sighted planning of our county. The poor, short-sighted planning of the county is why we have so many municipalities and why we can't come together as a region. So I have a lot more to say, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Denny Dickler, and I live in Creve Coeur in St. Louis County. I have learned so much about hockey tonight. I think I might even go out and sign up for an over 65 team. Not really, but I am already at the park quite a bit. As I heard other people talking, I looked at the three of you, and you're running an efficient meeting, doing a good job, but every single time someone talked about all the money that's going to come in because of this, you smiled, your eyes widened, and you were hearing ka-ching, ka-ching. But I don't think tonight is about economic development. I don't think it's even about hockey. I think it's about a massive structure, a hockey ice center with 1,400 parking spaces taking up part of Creve Coeur Park. As you look at all the people who have spoken, including myself, and the people who sat in this audience, how many minorities did you see? I think you could have counted them even at the largest attendance on one hand. But let me tell you about the people who use Creve Coeur Park. I go there to bike. I row at the St. Louis Rowing Club. I walk there, and I see other people rollerblading and doing many different activities, frisbee. I hear people talking many different languages. I see women with saris on. I see Hispanics. I see Filipinos. I see Asians. Many people who do not look like the people in this room. And I see people fishing in Creve Coeur Lake, and they are fishing for their dinner. The park is free. The ice hockey complex is not. This is not only an environmental issue, this structure creates a social justice issue. This complex does not serve the people who use the park. However, by taking up the opportunity to use outdoor space, you are taking away from people who are not here to talk tonight because there is no way they were part of any organization that sent out a message to get them here. And that isn't fair. Thank you.
Thanks, Deneen. Next.
Hello, I'm Alicia Skroska. This is my daughter, Eleanor. We are residents of Maryland Heights. There's a lot that's been said tonight that we would like to echo. There is something that I would like to add as a locker room mom to the Lady Cyclones team. One of the rinks that we have played at, the girls, if they had to use the restroom, had to go up 2 flights of stairs. Have you tried climbing 2 flights of stairs in a pair of skates? Not very safe. If the girls were dressed and needed the facilities, we wound up having to make sure there was nobody in the boys' room so that we could run them in quickly and get them back out in case the boys needed it. This facility, that won't be a problem because the women are going to have their own locker rooms. We love Creve Coeur Park. It is right down the street, Marine, right down the street from our house. We have utilized it many times. I would like to say there are times that we have not utilized it because there has not been enough parking. We could not get onto that parking lot at Sailboat Cove for the fast food truck things. We've missed it a couple of times because there has not been enough parking. I'm loving the fact that in the off season of hockey, there is no off season of hockey, but when there's less people playing hockey, that's going to be right across from where the fast food trucks are going to be there. I like the idea that there's access. We can park, we can play. On a really nice day at Creve Coeur Park, you cannot find a parking spot. It is so wonderful of a park. Everybody wants to be there, just like the zoo, our Missouri Botanical Garden. You can't get in. There's too many people that love it. I like that it's on the edge of the property so that it has minimal impact. But recreation, this is for the wintertime. There are bird watching and things like that. I understand that in the wintertime. But this is a great way to use an end of the park that I rarely ever see anybody in. I think this can be a win-win for everyone working together. I think that's the main thing that we need to look at. I also want to say women's hockey needs this support. We have a lot of girls who benefit a lot. My daughter here, she's a little on the petite side. She plays goalie. She puts on the pads. There's 3 times as much of her and 3 times as much confidence. Her focus and concentration is amazing. I am terrified when the pucks come flying at her head, but she is calm, cool, and collected under fire. And that is something that we all need to look at. This is not going to come along every day. And the fact that Queenie and Kennedy are only during the winter, we have to have some place to go. And this is a fabulous opportunity that I encourage you to support. Thank you.
Thanks,
We
Alicia.
encourage you to support.
Thanks, Eleanor. Next speaker. Is there, you're all standing up over there, or where? Oh, sorry, over here. I didn't see you over there. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kathy Smith. Thanks for having this informational session tonight. I'm a resident of St. Louis County. I have been going to Creve Coeur Park for about the last 10 years. I am in opposition to the location and not the concept of this facility. I believe the struggle for ice time is real. I believe the addiction and love and devotion to the sport is real. I understand that because I became a rower 10 years ago, so I get that addiction part of it. I've been enjoying that park, and I've seen it, the use of it, as the previous person said, escalate over just so much over the last 10 years, and it is very crowded now. Westport's the closest place. Obviously, Dorset, you have that too. They can't handle it now. I wait in line for 20 minutes in the morning to get a snack after my workout. So I can only imagine that we're going to have to build more that's going to change the landscape. And there are a couple things you can't get rid of. You can't get rid of the fact that there are only 2 streets here. And anyone who's ever been to the amphitheater knows traffic gets congested at times. And if everyone's converging at the same point, it's not good. The other thing is floodplain. I don't need to say it anymore. It's going to flood, and it's not going to be pretty, and I would hate for people to lose this state-of-the-art complex. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Next.
Thanks for your time. My name is Bob Schneider-John. I'm a Missouri attorney by day. By night, I run an adult hockey league. And I just wanted to give you guys a few additional proponent arguments from the adult hockey standpoint for this new rink development. Adults, we talk a lot about youth hockey, and certainly that's where we want to see the growth of hockey in this community. I think we've got a pretty good argument that growth for youth will happen coming from adults playing hockey. Our organization, Arch Hockey, is committed to growing hockey in the adult community, and we think that adults playing hockey will lead to having their sons and daughters play hockey. So from an adult hockey standpoint, we tend to be the low man on the totem pole, and pretty much rightly so when it comes to allocation of ice times. The youth programs, the AAA programs, the girls programs, high schools, they'll all get ice times at the more premium times, and they'll leave the late times for us old guys. And that's as it should be. But right now, in order to grow adult hockey, we are constrained. Even with Chesterfield open right now, we've got times of the year where I have players that want to play that we can't put on the ice. So this program is important from an adult standpoint, and I think that's going to be kind of a trickle-down effect to the growth of youth as well. The only other arguments I'd like to make is to reflect Mr. Lukemeyer's argument, is that there's really a synergy between rinks and open spaces and parks already. I mean, you see that with Kirkwood, with Webster. I look at this as a lifelong county resident. I look at this as the county's equivalent to a recreational community center. That's all I have.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Next speaker. So my phone just died, so I'll be using the clock in the back of the room to try and do the timing here. So.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to this issue. My name is Jeff Dickler. I'm a resident of Creve Coeur. I've also been a member of the St. Louis Rowing Club for nigh on 30 years. So I've seen the activities out at this lake and at the park change and grow and ebb and flow. And I would want to say there are a few things I want to bring up. Number one, just, in no particular order, I looked at the design of your layout, and there's a fatal flaw in it. Just for your information, in case you don't know, the boathouse where we have been has flooded 4 times in the last 4 years. With the change in climate, it's getting worse. What you've got there for that holding pond is a bridge under the Marine Avenue that's going to put you right in the flood with us. And I'd like to see you guys cleaning Missouri River mud out of your equipment in those buildings. I hope they're waterproof. Next thing, the traffic on Marine Avenue during rush hour and when there's events at nearby venues is incredibly bad. I've seen backups all the way to the bottom of the hill at Marine Avenue. It's taken me 20 minutes just to get from the parking lot by the waterfall over to the entrance for the rowing club. And I just think of all those cars sitting there spewing their fumes out over the lake and out over the people who are walking and trying to enjoy the park. You have no entry from your parking lot out to Creve Coeur Mill. There's nothing. You've got to use Marine Avenue or you have to cross the railroad tracks. That's a real problem. And you guys need to find a way to get through there. The main thing I want to point out is I think the idea of the program is fantastic. I know with what's going on in Chesterfield, we need more ice rinks. We really do. This just isn't the place for it. I'm not even going to go into the DNR issue because I think the tall lady who spoke earlier hit it just fine. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I just wanted to share that with you from my years going out there and observing what goes on. Good night.
Thank you for your time, Jeff.
My name is Linda Swati, and I'm a St. Louis resident since 1975. I want to remind you that the reason for this meeting is not about the sport of hockey and the value of hockey. It is about the location of a hockey facility in an existing county park. It's a lovely facility, but it's the wrong location. Creve Coeur Park and Lake is a necessary destination to enjoy nature for St. Louis residents. And I stress the lake. What other park has a lake like Creve Coeur Lake? There is no other park in this area with a lake for people to enjoy. Why erode an existing beautiful park by removing precious greenery? I was dismayed by the construction of the Page extension, and now a further eroding of our park. It is inevitable that traffic will be a huge problem. Pollution, noise, and gridlock. And I think that you are not even truly addressing that issue. It is impossible for there to be a way to get to your facility without ruining this entire area. You're going to have commercial development all over. You're going to have backup, gridlock, and then what about the pollution from the cars and the noise pollution and the pollution to the natural wildlife? You've heard from many people tonight about we have a beautiful area that we need to guard. We are stewards of this property. So I'm just appalled that you would take something like this, which is a beautiful facility, and locate it here. This is public land. It is contrary to what it was supposed to be initially. And to boot, it's in a floodplain. My husband and I walk in the park almost every weekend, all 4 seasons. Can you not remember the bad flooding? I remember we walked up and you could only go so far. Imagine what's going to happen when you have this facility. And as many people have already pointed out, the boathouse in 4 years has been a mess, flooded. This is going to be a mess. This is going to be an economic disaster. And moreover, like I said before, it's going to be a disaster for this gym that we have in St. Louis. And I think it's appalling that this was not designed so that it could be elsewhere. There are so many other places where you can locate this. But to harm this area is just absolutely horrible. I've been a public school teacher for 38 years, and I know the value of something like doing hockey. And I applaud people for doing that. But this is not the place for this facility. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. That's all right. Next speaker. Sir. Thank you.
My name's Bob Young. I'm a resident of Kirkwood, but I spend a lot of time at Creve Coeur Lake. I'm with the Canoe and Kayak Club up there. And I think everybody said almost everything that's, needs to be said, other than the fact that I want to challenge you guys, Tom, Gary, come up with another spot for it. I mean, we all love hockey. I grew up with the Solomons in 1960s when we brought the Blues here. And, we love the sport. We love the need for it. All these wonderful people out here wanting to, participate. But it's just the wrong spot. I mean, we've got a park that's if you go out there on a Saturday or a Sunday, there's just people all over the place, and they're running, and they're jogging, and they're walking, or they're sitting on the beach, or they're out paddling their kayak. And that's what it's for. And what you're doing is you're taking one whole end of that park and making it into a asphalt, whatever you want to call it, spillway for all the water running down into the rest of the park. So I want to just challenge you guys to come up with a better answer, okay? We've all, said our thing. Everybody knows we need hockey. What we haven't said here, and I haven't heard one good reason on why it should be in Creve Coeur Park. Not one. And now you guys got to come up with a place to put it. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you. How you doing? My name's Dale Greenberry, and I'm with the St. Louis Lady Cyclones. I have two of my daughters here. The third one's actually playing hockey tonight. I'll be brief. A lot of the previous speakers have said things that basically I wanted to concur. But one of the things and I realize that this facility has been basically designed from the get-go to be inclusive for everyone. To be inclusive for the Gateway Locomotives, for the St. Louis Lady Cyclones. I don't know how many times we've been forced to dress in a locker room, dress in a closet because there's no place for the girls to go. Our club is inclusive. Our club does reach out to minority groups. We've had a number of we do a lot of for free activities for bringing minority groups bringing low-income groups into hockey. We have a number of folks that they've lost a family member, and we have organizations that are paying for those kids to play in our organization. But we don't really have a place to go. And so this is tremendously important for my daughters and for this community in terms of having a place that they can call home, that is designed around their needs. I realize that this is a park, but parks are for recreation. This is recreation. So it's not inconsistent with the goal of the Parks Department. Thank you. I just wanted to.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Hi, my name is Richard Toma, and I'm a representative from the Webster Groves Nature Study Society. I've been a member of this organization for well over 30 years at this point, and I've been a resident of St. Louis County for 57 of the 59 years that I've been alive. So I know St. Louis County very well. I don't want to trouble you with a lot of stuff, all the statistics and things you've heard tonight, but there are two things I do want to point out. First, I heard it said that there were 8,000 hockey members in the St. Louis area, growing rapidly. okay? Let's say we double that to 16,000, and then add on the extras that might be coming in. We might get up to 20,000 people using this facility, according to what we've heard tonight. Now, what I want you to do is compare that to the 1 million people that use Creve Coeur Park every year. These people are going to the park because it's outdoors. They could do a variety of things, all sorts of things. And this is a minor group of people wanting to take in a very vast change to the park. So I want you to when you make your decisions, or when decisions are made, I want you to consider those 1 million people that want it to be green. The second thing that I want to mention is that green space, it's been shown, study after study, green space is vital for communities. Communities that have lots of green space have very satisfied citizens. Communities that have green space have less crime. Communities that have green space have all sorts of things that are benefits to the people of those communities. Every time you take away a piece of green space, it never comes back. And I want to point out, St. Louis is one of the cities, St. Louis County is one of the areas that has the lowest amount of green space per area in the country. There are many other places that have much more, and they have much more satisfied citizens because of that. So I would encourage you not to take away space, but to add green space to the community. That's very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. I had been keeping it alive and just got lost track here. Yes. Next. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Duncan. I'm a resident of Des Peres, previously of Afton, Chicago, and Dallas. I'm also a member of the St. Louis Legacy Ice Foundation, which is a wonderful organization of committed volunteers who are good stewards of the environment. They're very transparent and they want to do right. So we are very grateful to be here tonight to hear from everyone. My personal story is that I started skating pre-Title IX on Creve Coeur Lake. We went out there, my dad, we'd moved to Creve Coeur from Afton. He went out there and he actually found the lake and it had frozen, which it doesn't do anymore and you don't go out there. It was the biggest pond hockey game you've ever seen. I love Creve Coeur Park. I love the park diversity. I love all the different things you can do there. And I'm very excited about this project. I couldn't find anywhere to play hockey. It was pre-Title IX. Girls didn't play hockey. If they did, they played on boys' teams, and that was not my personality. I was very shy in those days. I looked and looked. Literally 30 years later, I was able to find a women's hockey team, and I've been playing. I've played all over the country in tournaments. I travel to this day, and I am one of the older ones on my team. I've been to other cities where facilities like this are part of wonderful parks. I think it works very well. I've played on tournaments in St. Louis in slush, and some of the ice that wasn't so good. I enthusiastically support this project. Parkland is for recreation. There's a lot of diversity, and this is a chance for us to really enjoy our park and our community. And I thank you for the time.
Thank you, Kathy. And thank you. Should be.
Good evening. My name is Matt Thomas. I'm a resident of Maryland Heights. It seems as though it was just 6 months ago I was at the Maryland Heights County meetings where we were getting explanations of how Stan Kroenke was acquired in a development area just south of what we're talking about right now. Fortunately, that did not come to pass, although they are held, bound, and determined to develop that area over there adjacent to Highway 141. I've been a Blues fan since seeing the Cats run around 57 Oakland Avenue back in the days when Al Arbor used to skate over there, my favorite player. This is a great development, and as everybody knows, we need more ice space here in St. Louis County. You know, the Blues themselves, where they do their practicing right now up in the Mills Mall development area, which I guess was to anchor that facility, but which now stands about 70 to 75% vacant if the stats I last heard are correct, are doing their practice over there. I'm somewhat curious as to what's going to happen with that after they move to this new facility that's being set up over here. You know, it's a beautiful facility what you're talking about building over here, but the given the impact that it's going to have on Creve Coeur Park, and you've heard the reasons why from everybody up to this point. It's just going to be profound. And frankly, having a building of that nature, which is awfully reminiscent of what we heard about 6 months ago when Kroenke and Company were looking for tax incremental financing down there, is just really out of place, especially in the floodplain. It makes about as much sense as building a man-made lake adjacent to 14th and Clark. Beautiful facility, well-intended, absolutely the wrong place for it, and I would urge the St. Louis County Council to do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And I do believe he is our last speaker. So with that, I just want to thank everyone that has come out this evening and provided their input with us. I appreciate your interest in this endeavor, and thank you for your time. Have a great evening.